just about ready for Game 2 of this doubleheader between the Michigan Monarchs and the Richmond Jazz. Thanks so much for joining us. Alongside Alex Maxwell, I'm Jake Gorwitz on the call for tonight's two-game series between the Monarchs and the Jazz. The Jazz got the better of the Monarchs to open up the afternoon thanks to a stellar outing from Matt Dickey. First pitch of Game 2 comes at 6:50 from Brendan Moran, the starter for the Monarchs.
Moran's been solid in his last few outings. Really starting to get used to him starting on the mound. This is his third start this season. Usually we see him in the bullpen. But nonetheless, he's been improving with each outing, and that's what you gotta like to see.
Moran hits the leadoff hitter, Leandre Turner, and for the second straight game between these two, the leadoff man is hit by a pitch. Last game it was Peyton Lane who will step into the box now. Lane was hit by Kevin Corti to start off Game 1. And Game 2 begins with another HBP.
The Monarchs have had a lot of self-inflicted wounds on the pitching side of things defensively, which has really give the Jazz a lot of their momentum, especially in the game before us.
Fastball outside, count 1-0. Peyton Lane had a double that broke Game 1 open in the fourth. And Turner swiped second, and we saw Illich get caught off guard in Game 1 with a stolen base. And the same goes there for Ian Francis.
Yeah, that's a lack of communication throughout the entire defense. A catcher should always know when a guy's going. So the fact that that's 2 times in 2 games, that's concerning from the defense. And if you're Moran, you really got to find the zone quickly here and try to minimize the damage early.
That's softly flied into right field. Tyler Nelson comes in to make the grab for the first out.
It's a big recovery pitch there from Moran, just as we were looking for.
Now batting shortstop number 10.
And don't forget, Jake, the Jazz have the momentum riding off of last game's W.
Usually 3 runs, giving up 3 runs, that is more than good enough for the Monarchs. The offense will take you the rest of the way, but against a pitcher like Matt Dickey, who just consistently puts up zeros on the scoreboard, that's not going to win you a game.
No.
What's going on? Is there a radar gun here? I was told to check that.
Count 1-0 on Cade Parker. Count moves to 2-0. So Turner on second after he swiped it. And he's on his way again. Throw down, not in time.
In there rather easily, you might add. And that's a good jump he had right there. And if you're Moran, you got to look at him more and not let him be that comfortable and confident to swipe third base. And you hate to see that if you're a pitcher.
Turner didn't play in Game 1 and already making an impact early in this one. Count 2-2 now on Cade Parker. Richmond opened the scoring in the top of the second of Game 1. Looking to do so earlier. The 2-2. Right side. It'll score 1. Fitzharris gobbles it up and throws to Sam Bush at first to retire Parker.
That's good baseball from the Jazz. Parker doing a good job of having an approach and trying to get Turner in.
Now batting, designated hitter number 29.
Really, that's all what it's about. When you got a man in scoring position. And that's why he's batting in the 3-hole. And a good start for the Jazz so far, taking advantage of the Monarchs' blunders.
Deep shot into center field by Deering. It goes off of the glove of Longstaff. And Deering makes his way to third.
The shot there from Deering, but a fly ball right to the center fielder, Longstaff. And Jake, we've raved about his glove all season, how he was such a good defensive outfielder. An uncharacteristic mistake there from Longstaff.
Number 15, Connor O'Malley.
And it's difficult when you're backpedaling like that, or you'd like to see him maybe sprint to the spot and then maybe put your glove up. He kind of had his glove up too long, and it made him a little harder on himself. Definitely harder on Brendan Moran now. A man on third. But a good shot from Deering nonetheless.
Deering picks up where he left off in the All-Star game. He was named the MVP of that contest on Tuesday. But Brendan Moran has Connor O'Malley in an 0-2 hole. Got him to chase. Strike 3. Brendan Moran leaves Austin Deering on third, but Richmond opens the scoring for the second time today. 1-0 going to the bottom of the first, Alex.
Could have been worse if you're the Monarchs. Once again, the Jazz left someone on third base. But you'd like to see the Jazz earn it. Too often we see the Monarchs give away free passes, whether that be hit by pitches or walks or errors. Let's try to limit that and truly let the other team, whoever it may be, earn all of their runs and live like that. That'd be a completely different way to play baseball defensively.
Monarchs hoping to split the doubleheader today. Down by 1. Going to the bottom of the first, and it's Luke Leverton, the starter of Game 2. He's on his way to Wabash Valley College. He's leaving Miami of Ohio. And he's made 5 starts in this GLSEL season. An ERA just over 4. And he, just like Matt Dickey, was a GLSEL All-Star.
Starting Game 2 on the mound for the Richmond Jazz, number 33.
Top of the order for the Monarchs looks the same as it did in Game 1. It's Longstaff, Keto, Nelson. 1, 2, 3, and if you take that a step further, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hayden Yatzak follows Tyler Nelson just like the first game. Longstaff led off the bottom of the first with a single in the first game of this doubleheader. But in a bit of a wacky play, Alex, he ran into the baseball, hit by Joe Keto as a grounder to the right side of the infield. Maybe had a chance to get in between the gap of the middle infielders.
Jake, that was kind of the story of the game yesterday. In game one, I keep saying yesterday. In game one, the ball didn't bounce for the Monarchs' way. And really all the credit deserves to be to the pitcher on the mound, Dickey. Looks like Longstaff got away with that one there. Nearly hit him in the face.
The check swing brought him to his knees, but he didn't go. And we see Longstaff hacking early. Count 2-1. Chopper up the middle. Off balance throw by Wimbley. Bounces in front of O'Malley, and Longstaff beats it out.
That's a definition of why speed is so crucial in today's game. Longstaff can really hit the ball anywhere in the infield and has a good chance of beating it out more times than not.
Shortstop number 1, Joe Quito.
Even a ground ball to the right side, Reese Longstaff is capable.
Yeah. And he's even more dangerous on the base pass when he's trying to steal.
Quito watches the first pitch go by. Count 0-1. And Leverton throws over. Ball outside, evens the count to Joe Quito. Quito really single-handedly created some offense to score the Monarchs' only run of the first game. A couple stolen bases. Really just took control of that half inning.
And that's really one of the reasons why the Monarchs didn't win right there, is it took one man really to do it all. Usually you see a hit parade of guys, 4 in a row, 5 in a row. Runners just rounding the bases. But that wasn't the case in game one for the Monarchs. Let's see if that can change tonight. String together a lot of momentum. How many times this year have we seen Joe Quito hit by pitches, Jake? It's been over 12 at least.
I want to say that that's 11 or 12.
11. Leading the team nonetheless, though.
By a wide margin. There's a couple guys tied for second with 6. There's always one guy on every team that's just a little unlucky.
He just attracts. But hey, Jake, we talk about Tyler Nelson always having runners in scoring position whenever he's up. Once again, nobody out either. And you got big-time speed on the bases.
Leverton blows it by Tyler Nelson. Nelson in the transfer portal on his way out of Indiana State. I'm sure we'll hear in the not so distant future where Nelson will be continuing his college career. So looking forward to that. Swing and a miss. On 3 straight pitches, Leverton puts down Tyler Nelson.
Leverton really doing a good job
Now
of
batting, designated hitter,
going to that upstairs fastball,
Yatzak.
which really distracted Nelson. And if you're Nelson, you have to make a note of that and adjust as you continue in this game. But Leverton really doing a good job of taking his time and finding himself in his own rhythm.
Hayden Yatzak went 1 for 3 in game 1. Had that single in the 4th that found a gap through the right side in between O'Malley and Wimbley. And in his next plate appearance, had the grounder to the right side that brought home Keto for the only Monarchs run. Leverton really putting a lot of attention toward Longstaff and Keto.
As he should. Two of the fastest players on a rather quick team. And you see a lot in this league. Runners will take third, and that's something that should never happen on the mound. A runner should never steal third on you. That is a cardinal sin. And Leverton doing a good job of making sure that doesn't happen.
Called strike brings the count to 3-1 against Hayden Yatzak. Took a step toward first base as if he had gotten walked on 4 straight pitches, but he'll stand back in there. No throw over there from Leverton, but another step off. He'll go back to work. Yatzak couldn't catch up to the fastball. Rips it foul. And just like that, the count's full.
Just like Matt Dickey, Leverton bringing the heat tonight. As these are two of the top pitchers that Richmond has to offer. Going right for their big guns in this doubleheader.
The payoff pitch fouled away by Yatzak.
And the game is really slowed down because Leverton wants it to be slow. I think too many pitchers don't use that to their advantage. You can have control of the rhythm and momentum of the game on the mound, and Leverton really doing a good job of doing it on his own pace, on his own time.
Here's the 3-2 for the second time. Inside and low, and the bases are loaded.
Great plate discipline there from Hayden Yatzak. As Skelly's heading out to talk to his pitcher. But if you're the Monarchs, you got to capitalize here. Bases loaded, only 1 down. And Coleman's been hot as of late, really hitting the ball well.
And just to wrap up Yatzak's at-bat, because you talk about his plate discipline and how mature of an at-bat that was, really waiting it out with Leverton. He's drawn more walks than strikeouts. You don't see that too often, especially in summer ball when everyone's trying to get theirs.
Yeah.
And going for the gusto.
especially at the 4-hole, which we see him at. That's an excellent point, Jake. A lot of maturity, definitely. And that goes a long way.
Coleman popped it into right field. Coming home is Longstaff. There will be no play at the plate, but a play at third. Quito is safe.
Excellent baseball all around from the Monarchs. First with Coleman to do a job and get a runner home. And a speedy Longstaff scored to even the game up at 1. And don't sleep on Joe Quito tagging up from second to third. Now Sam Bush, a base hit, scores. All the little things always find a way to add up. Great job from the Monarchs to even up at 1.
How many times have we seen Joe Quito make heads-up plays? And we saw that exact same play in the last home game before the doubleheader today. He had a sac fly, or he tagged up going from second to third just like he did there in the bottom of the 8th, and then ended up scoring. And that was really what put the game on ice against Sandusky in that 8-6 win.
Yeah.
But he doesn't score that run if he doesn't tag from second to third.
Absolutely. Jake, you're absolutely right. One of the mental notes Ben Kamenowski's talked about this season is, while on the base pass, you got to be smart but aggressive. And Joe Quito's done a great job of really playing that way.
A big swing and a miss there from Sam Bush.
Yeah, that was a swing that was intentionally trying to hit a home run there. One of Sam Bush's strengths.
This is Bush's first action in the series against Richmond. A big drive. It's got the height but not the distance. Camped under it is Sizemore for the third out. Monarchs leave men on the corners, but they knot this game up at 1 going to the top of the second.
Leading off the top of the second inning, right fielder number 11, Josiah Sizemore.
We're back here in Adrian, Michigan for top of the second inning action. Brendan Moran facing Josiah Sizemore. Swing and a miss to start Sizemore's first at-bat of the series. He replaces Schrepf in right field for Game 2 of this doubleheader. That one hit Sizemore in the lower half. Maybe caught him on the knee. And the leadoff man for the second straight inning
Number 16, Chandler Skelly.
is hit by a pitch and on first.
Too many batters have been hit by pitches from the Monarchs. That's something that really needs to be cleaned up as we progress. Really never should happen, once in a while, but the fact that that's the, third or fourth
Well, it's the second in this game.
between the two games, I'd say that's
Between the two games, it's 6.
that can't happen, and that's a big part of why Richmond won the first game. Because of little blunders like that.
Moran facing Chandler Skelly now. Skelly getting the start behind the dish, replacing Drew Barber. I'm a little surprised to see Sizemore come in for Schrepf, considering the game one that Schrepf had with the double and the drawn walk. Skelly rips a one-hopper to Brown from second, and then the relay to first. That's good for a 5-4-3 double play.
How about that from Henry Brown? A rocket hit right at him, and he picked it right off the turf to twist it. A much-needed double play for the Monarchs, especially for Brendan Moran. A tough play made easy by Henry Brown over there at third. A crucial 2 outs now.
Kyle Kuramoto takes the first pitch ball. Kuramoto moved down in the lineup from second to eighth. Count 2-0 early on him. That pitch went way inside on Kuramoto.
Jake, other than that previous curveball, we haven't seen Moran use his off speed as much as he usually does.
You see Kuramoto just stand straight up there?
Yeah, that's
Talk about the take sign.
Yeah. A lot of guys just do that to be goofy or try to play little mental games with the pitcher. Especially when a guy's struggling to find the zone and you're at bat. Why give him any help?
It's a crowded South Division that the Richmond Jazz are in. And coming into this game, too, you have a 14-17 record. An opportunity to take a series from the number one team in the entire league. I don't know about you, Alex, but I think everybody enjoys playing a little spoiler.
Oh, yeah. And I talked about it earlier, Jake. When you're at the top, you have a target on your back. And people are going to play extra hard when they play you.
So the Jazz, while this series might not have heavy playoff implications riding on it, the Jazz are still hungry, and it's a much-needed series for the Monarchs as the Jazz execute a hit-and-run perfectly.
Yeah, that was an unlucky situation if you're the Monarchs, as Jack Fitzharris just hopped right out of the way to cover the runner at second. Still 2 down. Moran has been cruising this inning for the most part.
Now batting the center fielder, number
But this is
1,
one where you really got to win the mini battle here. cut this game short and keep it at 1 and head over to offense.
The Jazz are already at the top of their lineup. Once again, it's Leandre Turner. The Monarchs had runners on the corners in the bottom half of the first. Now it's Richmond's turn. Poked foul. Turner, a sophomore at Grambling State University, but originally from Southfield, Michigan, and went to U of D Jesuit, University of Detroit Jesuit High School, not too far from us. That's hit into right field. Under it is Nelson for the third out. And just like the home team, the visitors leave runners on the corners. 1-1 still the score, going to the bottom of the second, Alex. But in a 7-inning game, as everyone knows, you don't need to waste any time figuring out that sense of urgency.
Oh, no. I mean, it's good that the Monarchs have started off hot, getting a 1 run in the first inning. But they can't fall asleep. They can't go away 2, 3, 4, because we saw in the previous game, too little, too late. But the Monarchs also aren't facing Dickey on the mound, who's been one of the best, you could argue the best pitcher in the entire league. So not facing him is a big win of its own. But a successful inning defensively, as the Jazz were threatening once again with runners on third, and Moran kept it short. And doing a good job of getting the first 2 outs, not getting himself in a huge hole. It's a lot easier when you can pitch ahead.
Alex, the double play ball has been a factor throughout this young game already with the 5-4-3 twist. But then also a couple double play balls that helped out Kevin Corti. In game 1, it was a 6-3 double play in inning number 1. And then for TJ Potkova in the 6th, it was Wimbley that stumbled on his way back to first on a flyout that resulted in a double play.
Well, that's really credit to the ability. When you can throw strikes, good things happen, really. And when you have such a good defense behind you, it really can just put the rhythm down for your defense and give yourself a chance, really. Oh.
0-1 hits Henry Brown. The enthusiastic bat flip toward his dugout. And that's a classic case, Alex, of Leverton just missing his spot. The catcher, Skelly, was set up outside. Leverton just lost a hold of it.
Yep. I'd say the biggest weakness in all pitchers in this league is not the velocity or the talent. It's the consistency to find the zone. Accuracy. I think that's one of the biggest weaknesses, not just from the Monarchs, but throughout all the teams.
Ian Francis gets his first crack at the Richmond Jazz pitching staff. A swing and a miss there. That hit Ian Francis.
Back to back. I mean, my goodness, that's 6 for the Monarchs pitching, and that's 2 in a row for the Jazz. I mean, we need to clean this game up.
Already 3 in this game.
This is not, you need to clean this game up. I'm sorry, this is not good. You can't just have guys just constantly getting plunked.
And I don't think there's bad intentions
No,
behind
definitely
these
not.
pitches. Well, in Luke Leverton's defense, there was a train passing by during that at bat. So that's not going to help the cause by
No.
any means. Fitzharris puts down the bunt right back to Leverton. From second base going over to first to make the play is Wimbley. Not PFP there. Pitcher's fielding practice, but a heads-up play by Wimbley going all the way over from second to first.
Oh, yeah. Big time play from Wembley. That's why you practice it, Jake. Because it always comes up in situations that are important. But a great bunt call from the third base coach and the head skipper, Ben Kamenowski. That was an obvious bunt situation
Now batting center fielder
with
number 5,
nobody down and
Reese
men in scoring
Longstaff.
position. Now there's one down and you got your arguably best hitter up.
Leverton starting to lose his command a little bit in the bottom of the second. Henry Brown on third, Francis on second. Both got on after being pelted by a couple baseballs. Off speed misses outside on Longstaff. Count 2-0.
You've already seen a ball in the dirt, and if you're Skelly, you have to be a wall here because Brown is going to be aggressive and try and take the lead. I'd give Longstaff the green light here on the 3-0.
Takes a pitch on the outer part of the plate. Count 3-1. And we have a timeout.
When Leverton's taking his time, batters trying to get loose or stiff. So good move there from Longstaff and calling timeout.
Ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Bases juiced for Joe Quito.
Now batting shortstop.
He
number
was hit
1,
by a pitch
Joe
in his first
Quito.
plate appearance. Had a single that started his 6th inning, an eventful one that ended in him crossing home plate. Getting out of the way of that one is Francis. The relay over to first. It's out of the reach of O'Malley. He'll pump fake a few times. And a run will score, and Joe Quito makes his way to second.
The Monarchs will take that any day of the week. Not the prettiest baseball, but nonetheless, they have 2 runners come home. The Monarchs are used to
Now batting right fielder
really
number
roping the ball. They
37,
haven't done so this inning,
Tyler Nelson.
but nonetheless, a bases clearing fielder's choice, if you will, for Joe Quito.
2 out of 3 runners scored. Quito moves to second. He's already hopping around behind Leverton. He's got him thinking.
This is exactly the start the Monarchs needed in the shortened game here, 7 innings.
Popped up in the infield by Tyler Nelson. Ends the Monarchs' threat. Some sloppy baseball in the early going of the second game of this doubleheader. But nonetheless, Monarchs lead 3-1 going to the top of the third.
Hitting off the top of the third inning
3-1 Monarchs lead.
Richmond, number 9.
The doubleheader rolls on to the top of the third. Monarchs have their first lead of the series. Dropped the first game 3-1. It was Matt Dickey that shined, going all 7 innings. Brendan Moran back out for the Monarchs, facing Peyton Lane, last game's leadoff hitter, and in this one, batting in the 2 spot. Count 0-2 on Lane. That's poked right to Henry Brown for the first out.
It's just the start you were looking for if you're Brendan Moran. Way ahead with the 0-2. And really doing a good job being creative with his off speed and mixing it up with his fastball. Nonetheless, throwing it for strikes.
That brings up Cade Parker. Takes a ball outside. He ended game 1 with 2 strikeouts, but prior to that, had a single, drew a walk. Cade Parker, an example of how unfortunate perhaps injuries are. He started off his collegiate career at Florida Atlantic and was named the Freshman Athlete of the Year in 2020. But then Tommy John surgery, we all know how unfortunately common that has become in the game of baseball. Grounder to Henry Brown for the second out. He's now at Gulf Coast Community College, on his way there, but just absolutely tearing it up in the GLSCL, and that's great to see.
Yeah, it is. It's exciting when you can see a guy bounce back like that, you know, especially after the season he's had. His statistics has been eye-opening, to say the least, and he plays a pretty good shortstop to go along with it.
So with 2 outs, Brendan Moran faces Austin Deering. Count 0-1. And if you're the Monarchs, you would love to see Brendan Moran get into a groove, go another inning or 2, hand the keys over to your bullpen, and really have a role reversal, and perhaps have this be a 3-1 Monarchs victory.
Yep. Moran there with a beautiful off speed. Really doing a good job of messing with the lefty. Deering.
0-2 off speed. Got Austin Deering. 3 up, 3 down. Brendan Moran starting to find his rhythm. 3-1 still the score going to the bottom of the third. The sun is shining here in Adrian, Michigan for Game 2 of this doubleheader. And if you're the Monarchs, you don't want to slow down.
Absolutely not. Was there any question that that pitch from Moran was going to be an off-speed pitch? I mean, my goodness, that lefty-lefty sweeping curveball is nearly impossible to hit, especially with the amount of movement it has, the late movement, mind you. Moran is really having one of the better performances we've seen him all season, seen him have. And there's no movement in the bullpen, and there shouldn't be. He is the man on the mound. And I'd like to see him push his limits a little bit and see how far he can go, especially with the shortened game. Only 7 innings, once again. Game 2 of the doubleheader. But Moran really doing a good job of starting off early with strikes. We've seen him in other outings, Jake, go 2-1, 3-1, 3-0. Now we're seeing 1-2, 0-2. It's a completely different game when you can manage that and put it in your favor. And minimize the walks, really. Don't hit guys and don't walk guys. And good things will happen more than not, especially when you have the stuff that he has.
It was a bit of a rocky road in the first and second, but if we're taking the season frame by frame, that top of the third was one of the more special half innings for Brendan Moran, that's for sure. First pitch strike to Hayden Yatzak from Luke Leverton. Got roughed up in the bottom of the second, giving up 2 runs. But he has the off-speed working there. Count 0-2 on the designated hitter. Fastball high. Moves the count to 1-2.
Leverton really likes that off speed. And he's not missing by much, but we talked about it earlier, Jake. Yatzak's plate discipline is spectacular.
A sharp foul ball goes out of play. Count stays the same. This feels like a game that we might see Hayden Yatzak come out of the bullpen.
Definitely. I mean,
A game that he could come in and shut down.
yeah, 100%. I mean, let's hope that the defense can hold it to that point. Oh, that's a good pitch there from Leverton. Yatzak was expecting a fastball, and Leverton threw him a changeup. Beautifully thrown, briefly located, and Yatzak knew it.
Now batting left fielder.
But depending on how long Moran goes
Coleman.
and who else is available, maybe there's a bridge pitcher coming in for an inning or two. It's just a guess.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, it all depends on how Moran goes in this next 2 innings. If he does go 2 innings, it's going to be crucial how things are set up. But you can't count the Jazz out here. We're only in the bottom of the third.
Fastball high and in on Coleman. Count 2-1. The deepest we've seen Moran go into a game is 4 innings. So I'm sure he'll be back out for another one, but beyond that, not sure. And a hot shot to the left side. They don't call it the hot corner for nothing. A nice snag there by the third baseman Lane.
How many is that from Coleman that we've seen tonight? Just absolute missiles right off the bat.
Now batting
But unfortunately,
first baseman number 24,
caught.
Sam Bush.
You got to be happy with the approach the Monarchs have had tonight.
Sam Bush going up to the plate with an agenda. A big swing. Count 0-1. Strike on the inner part of the plate. Count 1-2. 2 outs in the bottom of the third. Monarchs up by 2. 3-1 is the score. Luke Leverton and the Jazz looking for the first scoreless frame of this game. And it looks like they'll have it. They will.
Wow. What a play from O'Malley to get his foot back on the bag. That was bang bang to say the least.
Lane had to hurry with the throw over from third, and it took O'Malley off the ground. But, as you said, an impressive job getting that foot down for the third out. Leverton has a bounce-back frame of his own. Goes 1, 2, 3. Brendan Moran will look to make it 2 straight, 3 up, 3 down innings. Moran recently committed to Nicholls State, going over from Wheeling Jesuit University. That has to provide a little comfort for a pitcher. You're in the middle of your summer, you find a new college home, and then you can just worry about this season right here.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? It's a completely different world now for Brendan Moran that he's not talking to coaches, really trying to reach out on a daily basis. Huge sigh of relief. And it's something that we've seen more and more of with the transfer portal. You know, we've seen guys do 4 different schools in 4 years, or 3 schools in 4 years, or take red shirts in COVID year. Everything's just been confusing and jumbled. And it's something we've never really seen before. And I think it's affected nearly all sports in college. Baseball definitely being one of them.
Five, 6, 7, the due up for the Jazz.
Leading off the top of the fourth.
Top of the fourth. Jazz still down by 2. 3-1. Monarchs lead. With Connor O'Malley stepping in. Called strike. An interesting note on O'Malley. He's similar to Yatzak and Keto, have around the same drawn walks as strikeouts. We're talking about how rare and unique that stat is, especially during the summer season. Coming into this series, it was 15 of each of them for O'Malley. Count 2-2 now. Jazz still with only 1 hit. They've had a ton of base runners. That one is lost in the sun in left field by Camden Coleman. And on second goes O'Malley.
A tough way to start the inning, especially since Moran has been really cruising. But Coleman, really nothing you could do. He lost it in the sun. As now he puts on the shades. I'm not even sure that would have made a difference. It's brutal over there, Jake. Like you said, we're right underneath the sun.
Number 11, Josiah.
Zero shade over there in the outfield.
Not to mention, this is Camden Coleman's first appearance in the outfield in this summer season. We know that he is capable of playing the outfield because of his prior relationship with head skipper Ben Kamenowski at Frontier Community College. So we do have that insight that he does play multiple positions, including the outfield, but so far this season, we've only seen him at the corners of the infield. A half swing by Josiah Sizemore. Brendan Moran had him guessing. Evens the count 1-1.
This is a big out here for Moran. Could really shut down the Jazz's momentum here, starting off early. Wow. Way to paint the corner there if you're Moran with that outside pitch.
One-two up the middle. Ranging over is Keto, and the quick throw over retires Sizemore. But with one out, the Jazz have a runner on third.
What a beautiful play from Keto over there at shortstop. Jake, I talked about that being a must-needed out. And credit to Keto for really helping out his pitcher there. Not an easy play, but it shows you the range he has over there.
Ball out of the zone makes the count 1-0 on Chandler Skelly. Make that 2-0. Three straight balls inside from Brendan Moran. That's a 4-pitch walk.
Moran's just not going to. One of the things Moran struggles with is he tends to overthink a little bit.
Now batting left fielder number 25,
And sometimes that's one of the
Kuramoto.
biggest temptations when things aren't going your way.
Kuramoto went 0 for 4 in Game 1. Swing and a miss there, and the pump fake from Ian Francis allows Chandler Skelly to steal second. And with one out, two runners in scoring position for the visitors. Count even, one apiece, one out. Top of the fourth, Richmond Jazz looking to make this a back-and-forth ball game. We saw brilliance from Moran in the top of the third, and Alex, much like Leverton, the command just comes and goes.
Yeah. That's one of the weaknesses we've talked about. Really not finding any foundation right now for Moran. That's something that you need to work on in the early innings, really establish a rhythm or a groove. But when you're kind of all over the place, it doesn't really give you anything to build off of.
The bases are now loaded for Richmond. We'll have a mound visit. The infield coming in, as well as head coach Ben Kamenowski. So you're up 3-1. You go down early. You storm back with a few runs. You already lost the first game of the doubleheader. What's the message here?
Well, it's got to just, hey, Brendan, you got to fill up the zone and do your thing. And defense, you can't fall asleep here. We're still up. You got to get outs. Really, that's all it comes down to. How many double play balls have we seen today, Jake? I mean, that's really all you need. All of these balls and walks can be erased with just one good little at-bat here from Moran. Throw us a double play. Just let your defense have a chance to get in the game. Really, that's all Ben Kamenowski really could have said there. And he's just trying to really have a slow walk there and slow walk back to maximize the break for Moran, which is oftentimes crucial.
Now batting the second baseman, number 3, Jawan Webley.
It's 9 then top for the Jazz. Jawan Wembley singled in the second. Takes a strike there. Between game 1 and this game so far, Wembley's just found a way to get on base.
Yep.
3 out of 4 plate appearances. He's made his way on the base paths in 3 different ways. A single, base on balls, and then a hit by pitch. O'Malley on third, Skelly on second, Kuramato on first. The 1-1. Fouled away. Brendan Moran ahead in this count for the first time in a few at-bats.
And Jake, for the inning it's been for the Monarchs, really no harm yet.
Ball low, 2-2. We see Sam Bush playing in at first base.
Defense has got to be thinking ahead here. If the ball's hit to you, what do you do?
Swing and a miss. A big out by Brendan Moran. Jawan Wembley knows that was a missed chance. And he'll turn it over to Leandre Turner.
Now batting center fielder, number 1, Leandre Turner.
Big out there from Moran. This changes the complete aspect of this inning. And if you're Richmond, you got to be kicking yourself right now. Bases loaded, 1 out, and it's not looking promising here with 2 down here.
Off speed, goes for a strike. Count 0-1 on Turner. 2 outs in the top of the 4th. 3-1 Monarchs lead after scoring 3 unanswered. The 1-1 just high. Count 2-1. Ball low and away, count 3-1. We see Jalen Jones warming up in the bullpen for the Monarchs, but I'm sure the coaching staff, Ben Kamenowski, Alex Lord, Peter Riley, would love if Brennan Moran could get out of this one. Swing and a miss. It'll come down to one pitch.
Here we go, Jake. Biggest pitch of the game so far. Runner's going to be on the move. And Richmond could really change this game here with one swing. But so could Moran.
3-2, got him swinging. Brennan Moran loves it.
Jake, he got out of that. 3-2, 2 outs, bases loaded. I mean, my goodness, talk about making it hard on yourself. But hey, another scoreless inning for the Jazz. And man, that's not one of Brennan Moran's most efficient innings. But nonetheless, still scoreless. And I talked about it earlier in the inning, Jake. There hasn't been harm yet, real harm. Even though his bases loaded, there was 1 out. And you could really still find a force anywhere. But if you're Richmond, you have to just be so absolutely livid, because you know that is a momentum killer. And now they're going to play defense deflated. Just look at them walk onto the field. They look like they just lost the game. And they know that was crucial.
And it's interesting because you come into this game, too, feeling great about yourself. You just knocked off the best team in the league. And then just what a momentum shift leaving the bases loaded is.
Yeah.
Not to mention, you're most likely facing Jalen Jones next time you come to the batter's box.
So it's not going to get any easier, to say the least. But Jalen Jones has to find the zone. I mean, that's one a weakness he's had this season. When you can't throw strikes, it really changes the game. And it makes it just harder. And in no way is it positive. And at least if you get hit, you get hit and you throw strikes. But when you get pulled out for not throwing strikes, that is a different feeling.
(3-1) still the score, headed to the bottom of the fourth. Luke Leverton still on the mound for Richmond. Up against Henry Brown. That pitch is lined foul back into the netting. Brown, one of the many players from both sides to be hit by a pitch. Looked like Henry Brown might straighten that pitch out, but it goes foul. Might have ricocheted either off of the turf or
maybe off his leg.
Maybe the ankle.
Yeah, his hip, or excuse me, his thigh.
Oh, 2 inside. Make the count 1-2.
Brown not going away easy here. And if you're Leverton, you'd like to see your offense really help you out here because you're pitching just fine. The bases loaded 1 out has got to just drive you nuts.
Fastball upstairs, evens the count. Henry Brown recently tied Sam Bush for the team lead in home runs with 4 of them before the All-Star break. Left side. Fielded cleanly by Lane. The throw over retires Brown.
It's a good start to the inning for Leverton. He's starting to heat up here. And really find his groove. Monarchs just not starting to hit the balls hard off him like they were in the first 2. But you can't fade if you're the Monarchs.
Ian Francis whiffs to start his at-bat. Part of that back-to-back hit batters by Leverton in the bottom of the second. Alex, I was thinking about this the last time Sam Bush was up, but it goes for Bush, Ian Francis, really all of the catchers. They're not everyday players for this Michigan Monarchs team. So how is it difficult to kind of go up and down? Some days you're up, you're getting ready for a game, you know you're in, and then in game 2 or 3, you know you're going down, or you know you're down going into that one.
Yeah, it is difficult because it's not easy to find your rhythm, because if you play well, then you're not playing the next game, and it kind of washes itself out. So it definitely is hard when you're not consistently in the lineup, but there's nothing you can really do because in summer ball, you have to rotate catchers. So you have to make the most of your opportunities, but it definitely makes things more difficult.
And we know the coaching staff rewards the hot hand. There's no question about that, but the key word is rotation.
Really, but the reason why they rotate is because catching is so brutal on your knees, and you can't have a guy catch 5-6 games in a row, especially if you play every day. It destroys your knees.
And that is not what you need going into fall ball,
No.
let alone the spring season.
Winter lifting, yeah.
Count 2-0 quickly on Jack Fitzharris. He laid down a sack bunt that moved over Brown and Francis his last time up. A grounder there, gets through into left field. Fitzharris aboard with a single.
Nice shot from Jack Fitzharris. Hitting the ball hard to the left side. Not easy to catch up on that fastball, that high heat fastball that Leverton's been throwing tonight.
Center fielder number 5,
But we've talked about it before, Jake, the 2-out rallies the Monarchs have been successful with this season.
Longstaff goes after the first pitch from Leverton. Puts it foul. Longstaff's batting average has slumped a little bit. It's now down to 337. A couple games before the All-Star break, he was hitting 376. That put him atop the Great Lakes League. He's now 7th in the league coming into this doubleheader today. But 337, I don't think that's too bad.
No, not at all. Still one of the hotter players in the league. Still one of the better players in the league. And a guy that scouts better be aware of. A 5-tool player at its finest.
Fitzharris had a jump. He's on his way to second. Reese Longstaff thinks that's a no-doubter. It is! He took a couple steps out of the box and watched that one fly. A 2-run shot. Reese Longstaff goes yard, and the Monarchs now lead 5-1.
How about the strength from Reese Longstaff to muscle that one out? That was up and in, and he handled that pitch no problem. And that's what we talked about, Jake, that 2-out rally. Credit to Fitzharris for giving it to the next guy. And how about that 5-1? Good teams can create something out of absolutely nothing. 5-1 Monarchs lead now. Big, big shot from Longstaff. We were talking about Jake. He's one of the better players in the league. Scouts better be aware of him. How about a home run?
I think he might have hurt us.
Yeah. He's been absolutely fantastic this year. Definitely a Division I player, a high-level Division I player.
Count 1-1 on Joe Quito. Longstaff, for his standards maybe, has been out of his groove, or at least the groove that he got into to start the year. As Quito cranks that one into right field. He'll stretch it out after Sizemore misplays it in right. Quito finds himself at second, but going back to the point about Longstaff, maybe this is the start of a big second half of the season breakout.
Oh, absolutely. Kind of like another breakout to his previous breakout.
Second of the year.
Second of the year. So
most guys are lucky to get one.
Yeah, he's plateaued a little bit right about the All-Star break, and now he's starting to pick up again.
2 for 2 in this game with a walk.
And he's hit the ball hard in nearly every at-bat.
1 for 3 in the first game.
With 2 hot shots, yeah.
Surprise, surprise. Tyler Nelson with an RBI opportunity.
Yeah. What's new?
Not a whole lot. Fastball blown by Tyler Nelson. Count 0-2. 2 outs in the bottom of the fourth. More 2-out offense for the Monarchs. That's been the story as of late for this team, even before the All-Star break. Off-speed drifts outside. Nelson, a grounder to Parker, but the backhand play is no good. Look at Quito coming home.
A little too aggressive there from Joe Quito. But heads up base running, nonetheless. It looked like Parker was out of position there. That's why he couldn't get to that routine ground ball to throw out Nelson. But the Monarchs scraped 2 aboard with a Reese Longstaff shot to left center field. My gosh, Jake. That was effortless.
I was not expecting that, mainly because the pace of the doubleheader so far has been a little lethargic. It's been slow. I'd call this game mellow.
Yeah.
Prior to Longstaff speeding it up.
Yeah, it's really due to when you can't really find the zone for multiple at-bats. That's kind of what happens.
From both sides, too.
Yeah, I'm not blaming one pitcher. I'm not singling anyone out. But I'm just saying that's kind of the pitcher really establishes the rhythm of the game and how it's going to go from there on out. And it's no surprise Leverton likes to take his time. And so does Moran. Now we got Jalen Jones.
Jalen Jones has been a workhorse for this Monarchs team. We were wondering who would step up in the absence of Nick Powers, the Michigan State lefty that saw his summer come to a close only due to an inning limit placed by his college coaches. Otherwise, he would be starting. He would have started this game, actually, if he didn't have that limit. But you want to know why Jalen Jones didn't pitch at the All-Star game?
Why's that?
It's because he pitched a couple times the nights prior leading up to the All-Star break. So talk about putting it out there for your team. A selfless contribution. And we see him back out there tonight. 5-1 is the score going to the top of the fifth. It was a 3-1 Monarchs advantage. Reese Longstaff changed that with one swing. A towering home run to left field. So Monarchs up by 4. With Alex Maxwell, I'm Jake Gorwitz. So glad that you're with us here on this Thursday night for Game 2 of the doubleheader. And if you've stuck with us since the first game to now, thank you so much. Peyton Lane skies that one to right field for the first out.
Couldn't ask for a better start if you're Jalen Jones. Just finding the zone, finding his groove so far. 1 up, 1 down. And Jalen Jones is so dominant, arguably the most complete and talented pitcher the Monarchs have when he's on.
Fastball inside on Cade Parker. I'm seeing a comment on the YouTube stream from Michael Schrepp. Got really blurry. How's the broadcast doing now? Let us know if we need to straighten anything out, but thank you for the compliments. We're so glad that you could join us for this one. Here's the 2-1. Inside. Around the ankles of Cade Parker.
Oh, little awkward there. Cade Parker throws his bat and heads over to first.
And he's shaking his head on the way back.
Oh, not a good look at all. And it's not going to help his relationship with the umpire later in the game. And Jalen Jones has to feel a little more confidence here.
That is pieced right to Joe Quito. An unlucky at-bat from Cade Parker. He thinks he deserves first base. But Jalen Jones and Joe Quito say, no, sir.
But nonetheless, 2 up, 2 down for Jalen Jones. Like we talked about, Jake, his fastball's in the mid-90s, and his off-speed is fantastic as well. He's got the stuff to make the Jazz hitters quiet, just like that first pitch curveball. My gosh. He's a smart pitcher, too, going to that pitch on the lefty-lefty.
All-star versus all-star right here between Jones and Austin Deering. That pitch is high. Count 1-1. Austin Deering was the 2020 Gatorade West Virginia Player of the Year. In baseball, of course. He was originally signed to play at Marshall University, where his father, Rob, played college ball, but now is at State College of Florida, Manatee, Sarasota. Jalen Jones brought the high heat on that most recent pitch. Count 1-2. Swing and a miss. Jalen Jones enters this game and continues to quiet the Richmond Jazz.
Really doing a good job of doing what he does best. Sticking to his guns, really establishing his off speed. And being unpredictable with that 90s fastball. Jake, he made some good hitters look foolish there. The Gatorade Player of the Year from West Virginia. Didn't really have a chance on that curveball. That's the talent that Jalen Jones has. Pretty effortless.
5-1 the score, going to the bottom of the fifth. Luke Leverton back on the bump for the Jazz. We'll step aside just for a brief moment and take a look at this video quality. To the bottom of the fifth we go. 5-1 Monarchs lead over the Jazz. First pitch strike from Luke Leverton.
Wow. Beautiful changeup there. Completely had Yatzak fooled. The amount of movement on that was crazy.
Yatzak drives that one to right field. It barely goes foul. He would have had extra bases that would have rolled all the way back to the warning track. Chasing after it was Sizemore. Robbed by the foul line.
Yep.
Count 1-2 after the bouncer into the outstretched glove of Skelly. Hayden Yatzak stays alive. That pitch was flied into foul territory in right field. Bounced out of play. Here's the 2-2. Driven, deep left field, foul. Hayden Yatzak is getting a whole lot of these baseballs,
Gosh.
but none of them have found green.
No. I mean, that was an absolute shot. And how about that, Jake? Once again, full count for Hayden Yatzak. He's done that in nearly all of his at-bats. We talked about the maturity. He just got fooled there.
Leverton battles all the way back into that count and gets Yatzak looking.
Sometimes that's just the pitcher wins. That was a great at-bat from Yatzak, nearly a home run.
Left fielder number 3, Camden Coleman.
Coleman been really hot ever since he switched his walk-up song.
Coleman stays hot if it
no.
stays fair, but it doesn't. It had the distance. Oh, he says
Yeah.
just that short.
Yeah. He did the old Carlton Fisk. Stay fair, stay fair. Oh, man. That's what, back-to-back
Wow.
near home runs that are not. That was about, for those of you who can't see it in the whole frame, that was about 10 feet, maybe less. Foul.
One-two fought off by Coleman. Just a couple booming
Yeah.
hits into foul territory as of late from the Monarchs.
You have to be happy with that. Shows you they're not falling asleep.
One-two just poked out of play. Ball outside. Low and away, tried to paint the corner of the plate. Did Luke Leverton. For the second straight at-bat, counts full. 3-2, blew it past him. 2 straight strikeouts. One looking, one swinging.
That was nonetheless a good at-bat from Coleman. Just missed on that swing and miss. Strike 3.
First baseman number 24.
But several good
Sam
swings
Bush.
and a home run just foul.
Sam Bush, a soft grounder to the first baseman O'Malley for the third out. It's hard to believe it, but the Monarchs in fact went 1-2-3 in that inning, but wow, a couple ropes that all stayed foul.
Yeah. That's all you got to be happy with is quality at-bats because they're going to fall eventually. It's baseball. You fail 70% of the time and you're an all-star. So it's just a matter of piecing together quality at-bats because as a team, that's how you win games and that's how you progress and hand off the momentum from one guy to the next. And here we go, Jake. A short outing for Jalen Jones. Got Hayden Yatzak. You called it.
I had a feeling this would be a Hayden Yatzak game.
Excellent call from the man in the booth, Jake Orwitz. I mean, that's some inside Adam Schefter info right there. I love that.
And I didn't have a scoop.
No, just all gut.
That was a gut feeling, dude.
Yeah. But Ben Kamenowski does do a good job of giving us some inside scoop on the season. Definitely helps us out up here.
Well, it helps us help you.
Oh, yeah.
You as
Absolutely.
in everybody at home.
Yeah.
Of course. Bringing you the insider information on all things Monarchs. So Hayden Yatzak picks up the ball on the bump for the Monarchs. Brendan Moran went 4 innings. Jalen Jones only 1. And Yatzak will seemingly take it the rest of the way. Only 2 innings in this 7-inning bout. The second game of a doubleheader. Richmond took the first one, if you couldn't make it for that one.
And, Jake, that Reese Longstaff home run going back 2 innings really does change the dynamics of this game. 3-1 is manageable, but 5-1, you really have to claw back. And you really have to put that much more effort in. A completely different view for Hayden Yatzak and really more loose. And he can just let go and be himself out there.
First pitch to Connor O'Malley. Called a strike. That's belted. Deep left field. Going back is Camden Coleman. It deflects off of his leg. He didn't have a good read on it.
No, he couldn't really see it. Once again, due to that killer sun, you can't really blame anyone on that one. It's just tough to see when the sun is directly in your eyes.
Now batting right fielder number 11, Josiah Sizemore.
It was actually Connor O'Malley who gave Camden Coleman troubles initially in left field. I guess it wasn't O'Malley himself, really, rather the sun.
Yeah.
But credit to O'Malley for putting it there in the first place,
Yep.
I suppose.
Good things happen when you hit it hard.
So Hayden Yatzak enters the game, doesn't get any immediate help. But he's helping himself against Josiah Sizemore. Count 0-2.
And, Jake, we were talking about earlier, Yatzak has really improved on the mound. He's a fantastic hitter, we all know. But, my gosh, his play on the mound has been nothing short but of amazing.
Fastball high.
And it'll be interesting to see what he really chooses to do in the future. Does he try to focus more on hitting, or is he going to go the pitching aspect? Which route he's going to take? Because he can do both.
Swing and a miss. Down goes Josiah Sizemore for the first out of the top of the 6th. Alex, we were discussing the importance of Jalen Jones and his recent contributions and the workhorse that he's been as of late. But you have to throw Hayden Yatzak into that conversation. Pitchers like Carson Caudill starting on the bump more often.
Mm-hmm.
Kane Elmy with a couple solid outings. Keaton Ballard stepping up. Everybody chipping in to contribute to the loss of Nick Powers.
Yeah. I mean, my goodness, talk about contributing. How about that curveball? That is absolutely lights out. A fantastic pitch. First pitch strike, nonetheless.
Count 1-1 to Chandler Skelly. Grounded into the 5-4-3 double play all the way back in the second. Drew a walk more recently in the fourth. Count 2-1, 1 out, top of the sixth. Monarchs lead 5-1. The fastball is on one right now for Hayden Yatzak.
Bring in the heat there. That was absolute smoke there from Skelly. Blew it right by him.
Two fouled away.
And with a guy like Yatzak, when you can throw a first pitch curveball that's so lethal and then throw a 90s fastball, it's incredibly difficult to adjust and to handle really anything that he throws at your way. So Skelly has a big task here. Got to sit fastball and adjust to anything Yatzak throws.
Holy jumping, look at that fastball. Down goes Chandler Skelly. Hayden Yatzak looking rather untouchable.
We've talked about some guys that are trying to emerge as the season progresses. Yatzak's pitching has definitely progressed. Definitely one of the better arms on this Monarchs roster. And he's showing you why right here with 2 straight strikeouts.
Connor O'Malley on second. He's been on the base since the beginning of the inning. But since then, the Jazz have gone quiet. Here's the 0-1 to Kyle Kuramoto.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know where you start with that. Painted the outside corner. Really had no shot from the beginning. Now you got 0-2. Yatzak's definitely going to look to see if he can paint that fastball outside.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Hayden Yatzak absolutely ambushed the Richmond Jazz in the top of the sixth with that fastball. He faces 4, strikes out 3, swinging, preserving the 4-run lead for the Monarchs.
We were just talking about that, Jake, that fastball that he was looking for. Beautifully placed. Excellent call from Ian Francis to hit up the outer part of the plate. And like you said, Jake, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's a good little mantra there. And if there's any life in the Richmond Jazz, it surely has to be less than it was before Yatzak took the mound. I mean, that was brutal.
Well, we were wondering, or at least I was, why Brandon Schrepf wasn't in the game in right field to start Game 2, being replaced by Josiah Sizemore. But I think he's taking over duties on the mound for Luke Leverton. He's only appeared in 2 games as a pitcher so far, only 2 innings pitched. He faced Hamilton in what was a 13-9 victory for the Jazz. And his other inning of work came at the beginning of the season against the Mariners. So Braden Schrepf still getting his feet wet in this GLSCL season as a pitcher. And not an easy task facing a Monarchs lineup that could be just rounding into form once again.
Yep. By the way things are looking, Jake, I'd say you're right. They've been really solid on both ends here this game. Pitching has been solid, putting up 5 straight zeros. And the offense with a couple extra base hits and a home run. They deserve this 5-1 lead that they now have.
And we did talk about Schrepf and his stint at the University of South Florida, their only 2-way player. 33 games as a hitter, 12 appearances out of the bullpen, as we talked about earlier, and we're seeing that 2-way ability here again tonight.
That is absolutely mind-blowing. That never happens in college baseball, especially in today's day and age. So Schrepf really has a really good arm, and we're seeing that here. And he's got a fantastic bat as well. Oh, that is heat. He really has an aggressive windup and an emotion that's hard to pick out where the ball is coming out of his hand. It makes it seem like it's faster than it is, and it is fast.
Now batting the catcher, number 8, Ian Francis.
You might see some younger ball players come across the screen of the broadcast walking in front of the camera. There's actually another game after us here tonight on the campus of Siena Heights University.
Starts the main event. We're the prelims. That's the main event.
Come on, at least make us the co-main.
Okay.
Count 0-2 on Ian Francis with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. But there actually have been games going on here at this ballpark all day long leading up to our game, or our games, I should say. And then another one starting at 10 p.m., but 3 straight pitches sits down Ian Francis.
Schrepf is really cruising. Nasty. I wonder what it would look like if he started the game. I mean, to have him and Dickey. I mean, my gosh. The Jazz have some excellent arms, and they're really showing it so far. Monarchs don't have an answer for Schrepf on the mound.
That's blooped into foul territory. Making the catch is O'Malley. So an easy, no-stress outing for Brandon Schrepf. The Monarchs hope that's the last time they'll see him. 3 up, 3 down. Goes 7, 8, 9, and Hayden Yatzak returning to the mound to close the door.
Jake, his last closing opportunity was one of the best outings we've seen from him all year. And he's looking just like that last outing. And the one he's in now. His defense has been great behind him. And the Jazz are a little deflated. a little tired. And it would take a lot from them to come up large in this half inning of the 7th.
The last time we saw Yatzak pitch here at home, it was in that 8-6 win against Sandusky. Pitched 2 innings, and in those 2 innings, he faced 8 batters, striking out 5 of them.
Heading off the top of the 7th inning for the Jazz.
Yatzak will face 9 then top, Jawan Wimbley, Leandre Turner, and Peyton Lane. That's a 1-2 punch right there, folks.
Big time.
Start him off with the fastball, and then go to work with the off speed.
It really sets up whatever you want next. The hook, the curveball, the changeup, the fastball. Really, it doesn't give the hitter any opportunity to get comfortable. So starting off ahead that dominant is big time.
Count 2-2 to Wimbley. 4th consecutive strikeout, all swinging. Hayden Yatzak can't be stopped.
He sure can't be. And credit that to his starting off early and starting off ahead in the counts. When you can throw a first pitch fastball and then an excellent off speed, it really digs the batters in the hole. And they're really lost. And they have no confidence, and it really shows. Just like that pitch. Oh, didn't land. Maybe a tad high for the umpire's liking. But Yatzak's in the zone. You can just see it in his demeanor.
That's the first fastball in a while that contact has even been made on.
Yeah.
And still the timing isn't there for Jawan Wimbley.
Right. And yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. It throws off your timing when you can mix up your variety of pitches. That looked pretty good, Jake. I don't know.
The fastball just squeaks out of the zone for the home plate umpire's liking.
That'll play, though. Yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Beautifully placed off-speed pitch. Right on the corner.
That broke from outside of the zone all the way into the zone. That's now 5 straight.
And that had the leadoff hitter, Turner, turning his back. I mean, my goodness, Yatzak is just killing it right now. Not giving the Jazz any sign of life. There, once again, that's...
If it's working, why wouldn't you use it?
Yeah.
Count 0-1 on Peyton Lane. 2 outs, top of the 7th. The fastball's smoke right now.
Oh, my gosh.
Count 0-2, Hayden Yatzak working quickly. He wants to end it right here. Popped up, foul territory, out of play.
And you know, for a guy like Yatzak, he doesn't just want to end it. He wants to end it in style. Get another strikeout to make it, how many in a row?
6.
6. I'd say that's pretty good.
Hayden Yatzak sees 7, strikes out 6, 6 in a row, and that's your ball game.
One of the best performances we've seen by any Monarch this season. My goodness. Put that on Twitter, Jake. That was A1 content. Wow.
Monarchs take this one 5-1 in a bounce-back effort to avenge Game 1 of the doubleheader. The outfield comes barreling in, as it always does. Camden Coleman leading the charge for the first time. Coming in from left field. And we talked about it in the pregame show before Game 1. You don't often see doubleheader sweeps. We didn't see it in the Jetbox series. We didn't see it today. But Alex, I know something that you stress the importance of is the ability to bounce back.
Yeah. If you can bounce back, it really shows the DNA winning mentality you have. So that was a crucial win. And also, this season isn't over. The Monarchs are in first place, and if you want to stay in first, you have to maintain that greatness that you've already laid the foundation of, right? So 21-11, excellent, but you can't drop 2 games in a row because good teams don't do that. And the Monarchs have shown all throughout this season that they are a good team and they deserve every ounce of success that they've had. And it's not just one guy, it's not 2 guys, it's not 3 guys, it's the whole team. And they've showed that all season. Not just hitting, not just base running or fielding, not just pitching, but all around.
High fives all around for the Narcs. Moved to 21-11, like you said. And Alex, just a quick couple bullet points to wrap this one up for us. The bullpen. Brennan Moran was solid. He got you through 4 innings, only giving up 1 run, obviously. But Jalen Jones, Hayden Yatzak, the back end of this game was locked down.
Oh, yeah. Credit to Brennan Moran, though, for starting things off and laying the foundation for the 2 guys to come in after him. When you have 3 pitchers set up like that, it's all about giving the momentum to the next guy. And Jalen Jones did just that. Got to find the zone. He did just that. Hayden Yatzak had the best performance of his season by far. And the Monarchs were cruising. They deserve it.
Last point. We were wondering how this team would come back from the All-Star break. Do you come back energized, or do you become a little bit complacent? You have a 4.5 game lead on the Jetbox Baseball Club, at least going into the doubleheader. I'm not sure the status of Jetbox tonight. I know they won last night. But either way, you have some momentum going into the break. How does the break work for you? Does it play to your advantage? Does it go against you? In Game 1, we thought it might be the wrong way, but the team certainly woke up here in Game 2.
Absolutely. A little bit of break can't be a problem, as everyone needs a break. We're only human. I don't think it was necessarily the break that was the big problem. I think it was Dickey, the pitcher, really shutting down the lights for the Monarchs. That was, in my opinion, that was the best pitcher the Monarchs have faced all year. And that's what happens when you face a good pitcher. Sometimes you're going to get shut down. But hey, you learn from it, you come back, you bounce back in Game 2, and you give them 1 run, and you put 5 up on them, and you hit a 2-run shot right back at you. So a great bounce-back win for the Monarchs. They deserve it. And like we always say, good teams always find a way.
We just got a score update from our statistician, Brandon Lowe. Jetbox is down 5-0 to the Muskegon Clippers right now. So definitely make that 8-0. We've got breaking news here in the broadcast booth. 8-0 Muskegon really taking control of Jetbox in that game tonight. So certainly a score to monitor. But either way, the doubleheader is split here in Adrian, Michigan. The Michigan Monarchs get the better of the visiting Richmond Jazz in Game 2. Ran into a brick wall in Game 1. But either way, split the series going into the pivotal Game 3 this Saturday at Richmond on the road.
I'll say this real quick, Jake. They ran into a brick wall Game 1. They ran through a brick wall Game 2, getting that W.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Let's end the broadcast on that one. For Alex Maxwell, I'm Jake Gorowitz. Thanks so much for being a part of this one, these 2, I should say, this afternoon and evening here on the campus of Siena Heights University. This is the last time you'll hear from us until next Friday. We've got 2 games at home against the Grand Lake Mariners to end the regular season. Then Plofs, question mark, playoffs in the near future, hopefully, for this Michigan Monarchs baseball squad. For Alex Maxwell, I'm Jake Gorwitz signing off on this Thursday evening. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you this time next week.